Hello everybody, and welcome to another day of Doctor Who December. Today we're joined by BobaTennant. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everybody, my name's BobaTennant. I bet you didn't know that.
No. Shocker. But yeah, BobaTennant has his own YouTube channel, and guess what the name is? BobaTennant! But yeah...
No, it's called Perepic Llama.
Oh yeah, definitely Perepic Llama. Or Perepic Llama, depending on who you are, I
Peri.
guess. Or Peri! As I am now called. But yeah, today we're going to be doing, as you saw by the title, top 10 modern stories, episodes, things. Yeah. But yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah. I keep saying yeah. I need to stop. But
you should,
I was about to say
if you go onto my channel, I'm going to say it's so interesting. Over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, I did it again! Ugh! So... why don't you say your 10th place before I say the word again?
So number 10, it's one that we just watched about 2 hours ago now. It's the pilot from Series 10. This one, I don't know why. People don't like it very much. I can kind of see why. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one because it was in, of course, the first series that I caught live. But the way it really moves by very fast, it's similar to Robot. It's very rewatchable, introduces new characters that are great. And yeah, it's very rewatchable. Of course, with my favorite Doctor, our favorite Doctor. Yeah, it's just really good. There he is.
Yeah. I agree with you. The pilot, it feels like a completely fresh start for the show. So you had Series 8 and 9, they were a lot darker than the opening to Series 10, let's say. Series 10, the villain was dark, but at the same time it kind of feels like a fresh, light start with Bill.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think it is a great one. It's one that I kind of forget exists a lot of the time. And it's not because it's a bad story, because when I watch it, so when we watched it earlier, I really enjoyed it. But I never go, oh yeah, the pilot, and I don't know why, but for some reason it just stays in the background for me. But it is a good one.
It's one that I think of all the time. It's like Robot, again.
Yeah.
So what's your number 10?
Now, this is technically part 1 of a finale, but we're going with it. Heaven Sent. I love Heaven
Oh, wow,
Sent.
this low?
Yeah. I've got controversial opinions.
What's your opinion on it, then?
Heaven Sent I absolutely adore. It's Peter Capaldi acting for 50-odd minutes, so it is amazing, naturally. There's like a couple things that like ruin it for me. For example, what it leads into Hell Bent, of which for me, when I watch Heaven Sent,
That's not canon.
When I watch Heaven Sent, I feel like I have to watch Hell Bent because it's a cliffhanger and it leads into it. But at the same time, you just want to rewrite it completely and go, "Yep, that doesn't exist." But hey ho.
Yeah, because it's not canon.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. But yeah, what have you got for number 9?
Number 9, let me just check my list. I got another Capaldi that I need to grab because I am unorganized. It is Mummy on the Orient Express from Series 8. Series 8 is one that, like, everybody says, oh yeah, the only good ones are Mummy and Flatline. But there's a lot that I love from it. But yeah, Mummy on the Orient Express, it's another, like, murder mystery, even though it's not a murder mystery, you would say. It's one that's very interesting, and it holds you captivated for 46 minutes or so. The villain is great. Like, the scary level is very high, and it's a very enjoyable one, and Peter's great in it. I think, and he's always great.
Yeah, I think that it was a very well written one, and the design of the mummy, it still freaks me out. Just the teeth. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very, very good story, and the way that they had the countdown leading up to the inevitable death.
Start the count.
Yeah, the like it's very well written, and I agree it is very good. It isn't in my top 10, but it is very good. Then number 9, I have Human Nature / The Family of Blood, one of your favourites.
Oh
One of your absolute favourites.
no, it's not.
I love the concept of this. I believe this is based off of a book, which was the Seventh Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But
I
yeah,
think it was called Human Nature as well.
yeah, and by Paul Cornell as well, which is the writer of this one. I think it was Paul Cornell. Pretty sure it was. But I love the concept of this. The Family of Blood, the way they just turn their heads to the side, freaks me out every time. The scarecrows, I love. I could just see the happiness building in your face just remembering this story. The whole human concept of the Doctor, I love, and it's one of the only times where someone falling in love with the Doctor, if we can class it as the Doctor, I think it works. It's one of the only times that I think it does, but it does for me anyway. Anyway, what is it that you don't think is so great about it?
I just think that there's just something that just makes it uninteresting to me. See, it needs to be interesting. If it's not interesting, it's not good.
Wow. See how it is?
So it's number 8 now, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait,
I've got
no,
another
have
Capaldi.
you said your 9th? Yes, you have. Ignore me. 8.
Mummy. So another Capaldi one. I have Oxygen from Series 10.
Yep.
This one just scared me so much when I watched it back in 2017. The spacesuit men where they're just going like that and stuff. Again, there's some good comedy in it as well at times, and then it's very scary like 2 seconds later, and then a cliffhanger of the Doctor like being blind, and then the Doctor like he was gonna go and like wipe Bill's mind and stuff, and he just like, oh, you were at my lectures, why were you there? And then he just goes to literally like giving up his eyesight just so that she can live. That's just amazing development for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's another one that I was so close to putting in the list. It isn't in my top 10, but it is one that I love. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, actually, and it creeped me out. For me, before I rewatched it, because when I first watched Series 10, I didn't like it, on the whole, but that episode...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't really know why. It just didn't work for me, because I was such a big fan of Series 8 and 9 originally, and then Series 10 was slightly different tone-wise, which at the time threw me. But anyway, back on the topic of it, when I first watched it, that was one of the only ones of the series that I enjoyed. I liked the dark tones of it. There's not blood or anything, but the horror, like the look on, like all the dead people, it's just creepy.
And the way that, like, again, the way that they have their arms out and stuff.
The suits, yeah.
And Nardol's in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's his first really real appearance since the pilot, pretty much.
Yeah, and the whole limited breaths. Is it just me that when I watch it, I count how much I breathe? Like, I don't know if that's just me.
Oh, I've never done that before, but that'd be...
I was, like, genuinely, like, monitoring my breathing. I wasn't writing it or anything, but I was very wary of my breathing, like, watching that. And, yeah, it's just really well written.
Alright,
Then
we're moving on to number 7, right?
8 for me, actually.
Oh, right, I forgot. Sorry. I thought that you had also put Oxygen in there for a second.
No, it is Series 10, though. Wild Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls.
This low?
To be fair, it is, like, my 8th favourite one of all of New Who. Like, but, yes, this low.
Heaven Sent and now World Enough in Time this low?
Forgive me. But, yeah, I love this one. The only reason it isn't so high is the whole Master reveal was ruined in the trailers, so it wasn't as shocking for me. And the whole Mondasian Sideman thing was ruined for me in the trailers. So, I'd have preferred it if they didn't reveal that and they'd have just had you realise it over time. And, yeah, I think it's really well written. It's just that. And it has a great soundtrack too, along with the rest of Series 10, which we need the soundtrack releasing for.
We need the Series 10 soundtrack.
We need it. But yeah,
So yeah, it's on my list, so I won't be talking about it.
yeah, go on.
Uh, at number 7, are we now?
Yeah.
We are. I have Midnight from the series 4. I just, like, you can obviously tell, I just took out the discs so that I didn't have to like carry like
Mm.
14 discs there. But Midnight, it is very scary. One of the also scariest episodes of Who for me. The way that it just mimics everybody, the midnight creature, and how we don't even see it. I did a review for it a couple months ago, but um, obviously the other day I did my Series 4 review, so it's kind of been updated. Um, but yeah, it's just the way that they're able to captivate you, and then eventually when it takes over the Doctor very slowly, everybody just wants to chuck the Doctor into space, and it's another one that's just so like dark.
Mm.
So yeah, that's my take on Midnight.
Midnight for me, I've always enjoyed it, but I've never enjoyed it as others. I've personally found it to be a little overrated. But that being said, I really enjoy it. It's yeah, I enjoyed the story. In no way would I say it was one of my favourites, but the whole idea of you not knowing what the creature is, it's really well done. And to this day, we still don't know. And
No, and I don't want to know.
yeah, no. If they were to ever say that, it would ruin the story for me completely.
Yeah, I think it would for many others as well, me included.
Mm. Right, my number 7. This is a very nostalgic one for me. School reunion. This
Oh, it's
this
still
one
reunion.
makes me cry so much. Pretty much any farewell between Sarah Jane and the Doctor. There were multiple, like in Sarah Jane Adventures and in Doctor Who. They make me cry every time because I grew up watching the Sarah Jane Adventures, and after Elizabeth Sladen's passing, it just added a whole other impact to it. So the Quillatane design I love. It is quite CGI, but it was
Yeah,
2006, so
yeah. Again, I don't know if it's aged the greatest in my opinion, but
mm,
yeah, School Reunion is one that's missed out on the top 10 because it just doesn't have that sort of like epic feel. It's sort of more of a just and calm, relive the memory story for me. But it still is really good. One of the best of series 2.
yeah, it set up the whole idea of the return of Sarah Jane with her spin-off as well. So it set up the idea of that show as well. So that adds a whole other thing because that was a major part of my childhood, so younger childhood. So yeah. Anyway, go on. What's the next one?
You may have just seen this, but this is the only Eccleston that I have on my list, and it is Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways.
Ooh.
Really just Parting of the Ways, really, because... Well, no, Bad Wolf. I'll include Bad Wolf, because Bad Wolf has what I would say one of the best cliffhangers in Doctor Who. But then Parting of the Ways, it's another one that it just feels so grand in its scale for this small show that the BBC didn't think would do very well.
Mm.
And the regeneration at the end, it's one that is very sad. See, New Who's just done really well with its regenerations, other than Tennant, in my opinion. It's just a bit over the top for Tennant. But the way that they're just able to get rid of 9 so fast, and it really does break your heart. And the speech at the end, and the fury where he's gonna kill all the Daleks and he doesn't. He chooses to be just a coward, and it's just amazing. Great writing, and a really great way to finish off series 1.
Mm. I touch on this with my chat with Alex. That's trying to think because I'm recording these all out of order, so that'll be in a couple days' time. But I touched on this with him, and he was shocked by what I said. I think that two-parter is yet again overrated. Please forgive me. But don't get me wrong, I don't think it's bad. I can sit through it. I can watch it easily. It's easy watching. As you said, there is some great writing in it with the whole coward any day thing. Chris Eccleston, because I've rewatched series 1 in the last 3 or 4 days, and I decided to focus on the characters as opposed to the story, so I could like build a connection with the Doctor. And by doing that, it adds a whole new thing to Chris's regeneration. And I agree, his regeneration is really, really well done. And dragging it out with Tennant was maybe a bit too much. But
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It was a good one. Not in my top 10, but it is still good.
And now, what do you got for what are we on now? We're so unprepared
Six.
for this.
Yeah, we really are. Six. Now this is possibly the most controversial one, if not one of them.
Oh no.
Last Christmas. I know it's a Christmas special on the list. I remember watching this one live, and for me that added another thing to it. Um, I
Okay. Because I was gonna say you don't have Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways on your list,
but I
and
have
you have
Santa.
Last Christmas.
Yes, I do.
You have Heaven Sent and Rolled It Up in Time underneath Last Christmas.
Yes, I do. I am in love with the movie Alien and their take on the movie
Oh.
Alien. I love. And also I love. Have you seen the movie Inception?
No.
Well, this is also kind of based off it with going into people's dreams and stuff. It's basically based off of two of my favourite films. Therefore, I love it.
That's fair, but
Yeah, that's the
I
main
don't know.
reason. That's the reason. And it's got Santa in it, so.
it's not on my list. But Voyage of the Damned is my favorite Christmas special because
Mm.
I just love how goofy and silly it is, and yet it just goes so serious at the end. And it's Voyage of the Damned is a great one. Last Christmas is one of Capaldi's weaker specials. He didn't have the greatest specials ever, but it's okay, I would say. But maybe if I watch Alien, or I'll like it more.
Fair enough.
But it's me next, isn't it?
Yeah, fifth one, I think.
So I would go with I've lost my David Tennant slipcase, so I have to grab one of these. Stolen Earth and Journey's End, which is like the big finale, not finale, to the Russell T Davies era, with one of my favorite Doctor Who villains, Davros, making his way into the new series. Davros is one of the greatest Doctor Who characters ever. And then, the way that they were able to bring this like Avengers Endgame scale to some BBC One show that used to air in the 70s, it's so amazing how they did that and how interesting it is. And seeing everybody back, it's great. The way everybody's introduced is great. The Doctor and the Donna are great, and of course the ending breaks my heart. And it's just really good. And then seeing everybody team up at the end to fight the Daleks and pushing them around the room, and then the Meta-Crisis Doctor, and again, it's just really good. It has some good comedy moments. It has some emotional moments. And then of course those very like epic moments everybody remembers forever.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into it with too much detail because it may or may not be later in my list. But you know that it's an Avengers style one when you see the opening with all their names just flashing up.
Yeah.
And you know that it's going to be a good one when John Barrowman and Elizabeth Sladen are on that list. And
Oh yeah, because you just love Torchwood and SJA.
really, but yeah, it's got a special place in my heart because certain characters from spin-offs show up, and as you know, I love the spin-offs. Therefore, it's my dreams come true. But then for me, the next one, I don't know if it's technically classed as an episode. It's more of like a film, but The Day of the Doctor.
Oh, Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, I like this one because I remember all the celebrations on pretty much every channel at the time. BBC, there's a show called Blue Peter, and they were doing craft. Do you know what Blue Peter is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were doing like these crafts and cakes and stuff of Daleks and this and that, and I was loving it. Pretty much that whole day, TV in general was celebrating the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, and it was amazing. And whilst John Hurt's Doctor didn't show up again in like live action form, I found the War Doctor to be a really interesting concept. And I'm glad that Big Finish picked him up. I'm not going to go into that though because, yeah. But the Day of the Doctor, for me, I love it. It's got 10th Doctor coming back. It's a multi-Doctor story.
Yeah, see, the Day of the Doctor, you're talking about all these like big celebrations, and then for me, it just leads up to basically a 8-year special for New Who.
Yeah, true.
Because it feels mostly like a new Who celebration rather than the whole 50 years of Who. It's still pretty good. It's not one of my favorites ever. It's got the Zygons, and I'd say that they're done better in Series 9.
Mm.
It's cool to see Tennant back, but his hair is really distracting to me. John Hurt's Doctor is an interesting concept, but it needed more time to grow, which is probably why a Big Finish took him in to do some audios. But yeah, Dave the Doctor, it's all right. I would say the best thing to come out of the 50th is Adventure in Space and Time and the Five-ish Doctors. But yeah, Dave the Doctor is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's me next again, isn't it?
Yes. Fourth
So
one.
next up, I have your favorite. It is. Oh, I've lost it again.
Please don't say it's a series. It's the series 2 one, isn't it?
It's the Series 2 one. It is The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Yay!
Yeah, of course, you love this one. You love this one as much as I love Human Nature.
Passionately.
This story is one that it's another one that like you just it's a base under siege, so that already makes it amazing because I love base under siege. It's very scary story again. You don't know who's going to make it out alive, who's not going to make it. The tease of Rose gonna be dying in battle might be a bit much, but that's really the only thing I don't like. There's this one great line from an Ood, like, Rose like, "Oh, can I have those chips that?" And then the Ood's like, "The beast shall rise from the pit and cause war against God." And it's just hilarious to me. And yeah, so that's my take on it.
See,
and then, what's yours?
I actually rewatched this one yesterday because I'm binging through New Who. Because
wow.
Thing is, by the time this is out, the video will already be out. But I'm ranking each era of the show. I'm ranking each episode in each era. It's wish me luck. So I rewatched that story, and I have got to admit it was better than I remembered it.
That's great.
It's still not great. In fact, I'll have the list here. I rated it a. So
10 out of 10.
Part 1 was a 7, and Part 2.
That's good.
Part 2 was a 3.
Why a 3 for Part 2?
Okay, so Part 1 was a really interesting concept build-up with... You don't fully know who it is. It's supposedly Satan, we don't know for sure. It builds up a suspense, and I really like the way it sets the scene of it. The Ood, I have a new appreciation for them since we found out about Brian. So, yeah, I really... the design of the Ood is amazing. I like the way
it really is.
Sorry, go on.
I was just saying that the Ood design is amazing.
Yeah, I like the way that even the Doctor says this. The ship is flat packed and set up, and it even looks like that. It's makeshift, like this base, and I like the design of it and the way it works with. I don't know if it's a planet, but the place that they are. They say like impossible planet. So I love that. Part 2, however, I found, well, the CGI beast ruined the whole thing for me. That was one of the biggies.
The beast looks great, especially for 2006. Looked way better than the Krillitines.
Good point. But I just didn't like the way that it ended. There is no specific reasoning for it. My one big pick on it is, so the TARDIS fell into the planet, and he then fell over, and boom, it was right there when he was about to die. And it was just, oh, okay. For me, it just kind of felt a little, oh, well, that was lucky, wasn't it? Thank you, writers.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it's my favorite Tennant. It's you next.
Yeah, fourth, right? Fourth? Yeah, fourth.
Yeah. Just after Dave the Doctor.
Girl in the Fireplace. This one makes me cry again. I love the design of the droids. Now, I'm pretty sure I met the person who was dressed up as the blue droid at Comic-Con, but I didn't realise at the time. I thought it was a cosplayer. So afterwards, I looked on the website and went, oh! And I didn't realise.
Wow.
So I was there just, like, saying, oh, nice costume to this guy, and then, yeah. It's one that I haven't really told many people because I can't be 100% sure if it was that person or if it was a cosplayer. But if it was a cosplayer, it was a very good suit. But yeah,
I like that one. It's not really a standout for me. It's all right.
yeah, I like the acting in it. And I just love the story, the way it goes through her life. And for the Doctor, it's only 5 minutes, and
Hmm.
it's got a big emotional impact. And it basically sums up what the 10th Doctor's like, how he gets attached to people, and then when they're taken away from him, it kind of just wrecks him. And you saw that at the end of
Yeah.
that episode, and I think it pretty much sums up his Doctor really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, your turn, number 3.
Number three already. Wow.
Yeah.
Number three. I'm going back to Capaldi again
Mm.
because um, I have no Matt Smith and no Jodie on my list. Uh,
Actually, I don't either.
you and Matt because you had Dave the Doctor.
Oh, good point, good point, good point.
I don't want to sound like not my doctor. It just Jodie's episodes. They're some are really good, but they just weren't able to make top 10. I have Under the Lake and Before the Flood next,
Mm.
which is again it's another base under siege, so it's already amazing. And this one, it's another one that's very scary. The design of the ghost, and then seeing the Capaldi one, it's a terrifying image. I love how part one, instead of showing like what it's like and then what it's like after a big catastrophic event, it shows what's after the event in part one, and then shows before the event in part two, and then it shows the event happening. And the crew is a really good like cast. Like you got a deaf actress, I believe. Um,
Yeah,
that does a really good. Yeah, she does a really good job. Everybody just really does a great job, honestly. And Clara's good in this one as well.
mm.
And of course, Peter's great. And yeah, the ghosts scare me.
It is a great one for atmosphere. Um, it's it's another one. In a way, it has some similarities to the Satan Pit, but for me, I actually properly enjoy this one. um, I remember watching this one and having nightmares after the cliffhanger. um, it
Yeah,
was
that figures.
Yeah, it really, really freaked me out. The way they don't have eyes, it's just black. Really, it's such a simple design, yet at the same time it works so well. And
Hmm.
yeah, the like I said, the cliffhanger was brilliant. The Sonic glasses, whilst not many people love them, I think they worked really well and quite amusingly.
Same.
It,
I actually kind of like the Sonic
yeah,
shades.
they added a bit of Capaldi to it. um, and yeah, the cast was great in it. Part 2 wasn't so good for me personally, but yeah, there wasn't specific reasoning. I think that after part 1 was very creepy under the base the whole time. Part 2 was
Yeah.
it was more like, maybe it was because it was like above like the water level. Who knows? But I'm not 100% sure why. And it has puzzled me, as my dad prefers part 2. But
Oh.
yeah. Then for third place for me is another Capaldi. It's Listen. This isn't everyone's
Listen.
favourite. This isn't everyone's favourite one from what I can tell. But I love the way that you don't know if it is actually a monster in this or if it's just the Doctor being the Doctor. um, it
Or it could even be the Midnight Creature if you think about it.
Yeah, that was one of my theories. But I like the way how Stephen Moffat didn't specifically say that it is, because it would ruin Midnight, as we said before. It was really well done, even though it has the mild plot hole of like Danny's like descendants, however that works with the finale. Like, could it be another side of the family, but they look the exact same? Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't make perfect sense with later episodes. But if you just treat it as its own thing, I think it works really well. It freaks me out. I was up at 3 a.m. as I naturally am most nights, and I watched this one in the dark, sitting on my bed.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It was on Halloween. I think it was last year. I think.
Oh, that's
Um,
even better then.
yeah, I thought, you know what? I've got the atmosphere for it. Why not? And I regretted it within about 10 minutes. But it's a great one to watch in the dark. It's really well done.
I really like Listen. I think that Capaldi is great in it, but it's just not one of the standouts of Series 8 for me. It is really good, though, and Series 8 is one of the most underrated seasons of Who. It's me next again, isn't it?
Yeah,
Number 2, right?
yeah, definitely.
So that means I have Heaven Sent,
Yep. My
and just
10th.
Heaven Sent. Yeah, I don't know how you put Last Christmas over Heaven Sent,
Yeah,
which
don't
is like
ask.
the Capaldi episode. Um, yeah. Anyway, Heaven Sent. It has such a Capaldi. It is, I would say, his best episode. Like for him acting wise, it's not my favorite Capaldi, of course. Um, but just the way that he's able to hold the audience attention for like 56 minutes, and just the breaking the wall scene, and he's doing all this for like one person or whatever, and he's trapped for 4.5 billion years. It's sort of like it breaks your heart, and it just makes you so happy at the same time, and just seeing him like triumph like through everything, and it's just really great, honestly.
Yeah, it's one that my parents, for some reason, don't like. They, I asked them why. They said it's too weird. So
It's too weird.
quite what that means, I don't know. But Capaldi isn't their favourite Doctor. They are Tennant fans. Um, so anyone that isn't Tennant, they watch, they enjoy. Like they watch the new ones when they come out. But they don't like it as much, and they don't focus as much on it. So it could be that they prefer it with more cast. But personally, I think that it's so great because it's got a minimal cast, and it's basically the story of the Doctor dealing with grief.
Hmm.
And like I touched on with Go in the Fireplace, it resembles the way the Doctor copes with loss really well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then, is it me next?
Yeah, it's you next.
Second place, Stolen Earth, Journey's End.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. My reasoning for this, as I said, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, and Davros and Daleks, kind of merging there. That it's pretty much everything that I love. Rose, I can actually tolerate in that one, which is quite rare. Um, I don't usually like Rose, but I gotta admit, in Series 4, I preferred her character a lot. I was very close to putting Turn Left there, but I decided not to because of the spin-off edition with it. And as you said, it feels very much like the finale of RTD era. Even though it isn't the end, it's kind of the end
No.
of the complete series of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention this earlier, but their cliffhanger is really good, and it kept like the whole of England basically on the edge of their seat for a week. But one that kept me on the edge of my seat for 1 week is my number one, and it's World Enough in Time in the Doctor Falls.
Yep.
And I don't have my Series 10 Blu-ray, so I can't show it off now, even though it was just over there. Yeah, this one, again, it's part of the first series I watched. It was very nostalgic. I knew that John Sim was going to come in, but I didn't know that he was in disguise, so his reveal still shocked me. Again, the reveal of Bill Potts being a Cyberman, just like, oh, wow. And I'd seen clips. I'd even watched clips. I'd watch the clip of the Doctor regenerating at the start, and it still shocked me when I watched it, because when you watch it, you're just so interested, because, again, it has to be interesting if it's good.
Yeah, I know that I did put it quite low in it, but it is still very much in my top 10. The cliffhanger was superb. It is one of my favourite cliffhangers in New Who.
Hmm.
The way that it was done was brilliant. The only reason that it wasn't so high in my list and it wasn't ranked as my second one was purely because of the fact that the cliffhanger had sort of been ruined, and when I saw him in disguise, because throughout the whole thing I was looking for the Master, I just thought, oh, that's John Sim. That's immediately what I thought, and it was such a shame. Because because the whole time I was like, yeah, it's the Master, it's the Master, and then when it was revealed, I was like, oh look, it's the Master, um, and it was such a shame for me because it's a great story, and it's one that was quite sadly ruined for me by the advertising. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was excited for the series because of that advertising, but it ruined it at the same time.
The advertising was kind of smart because Doctor Who's ratings weren't the greatest at the time after Doctor Mysterio, so they needed a way to bring people in for the finale. And again, I do think that World Enough in Time is amazing. Doctor Falls is a bit too long, I would say, but it still is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
so,
bet I know what your number one's going to be.
I mean, possibly. Number one, it's obviously got to
Fear
go
Her.
to Love and Monsters.
Oh yeah, I love Monsters. Love Monsters and Fear
Everyone
Her.
loves that one.
It's a two-way win for Love Monsters and Fear Her.
You know what? I'll give you a little spoiler alert of what I rated Love and Monsters. I rated it a 1 out of 10. Best one on the list.
Oh wow, I
um,
wouldn't even rate it that low.
no, I can't do a 0. I'm doing 1 to 10. So yeah. But realistically, it's the Waters of Mars, which is why I'm very happy. I'm only going to say this because I'm not going to go into it. But Time of Victorious, that's why I'm so happy about it, because it links with it. But Waters of Mars, I think, it links greatly with the whole concept of the Valiard. Even though it isn't the Valiard, it links with it without saying it. And the whole announcement at the end saying he is the Time Lord Victorious, for me, just my heart rate triples. Like, part of you is just like, this is amazing, and part of you is just like, no, stop, what are you doing? And it's the acting in it. It's, for me, David Tennant is at his best in this. The design of the flood, terrifying.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the only episodes that I have seen The Confidential of in full, and it explains how they did the design of the flood, and I've got that whole new appreciation of it now. Yeah, what do you think of it?
Waters is one that is literally 11th on my list. It just missed the top 10. It's one that's it's an hour and like 2 minutes long, and it just flies by so quickly. And again, the fury of the Time Lord is just really shown here. Even though he's not furious, he's still, you can tell that he's just like, I'm not letting more people die, and it's just really good, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting.
Yeah, the Doctor should never be left alone, and this is the perfect example as to why.
Yeah.
The casting as well, superb. For such a small cast, there were quite a few episodes that have a smaller cast that it focuses on. It is done brilliantly, and bear in mind that it's a small cast. Quite a few of them have barely any dialogue. If you think about it,
that's true.
there's a few that are main ones, but the rest of them, they get a drop of water and they've just got quack mouths for the whole thing. Yeah, in the few minutes that they have dialogue, they capture it. So that's why I love it. But yeah. Time to do a fancy outro that I definitely planned.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, we're the most organised people on the planet. But yeah, thank you for
we
watching.
are. Well, yeah, because remember, we brought all of our DVDs and our Blu-rays
I mean,
here.
for the classic I did. For modern, I kind of went, I'm not going to empty my shelf completely.
I did, but I lost them halfway through. Oh, there they are. They just fell off.
Wow. But yeah, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, etc., etc. There we go. Right. Also,
We're done.
watch the other video on BobaTennant's channel.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna put mine out at the same time as yours.
Yep.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Should we leave this part in the video as well?
Yeah. To be honest, it makes it more fun, doesn't it? But I'm going to stop recording now, because otherwise I'm not going to.